Coming up, it's one of the biggest regular season events in South Dakota. We had an all-access pass. We'll take a special look inside the huddle at the 23rd Annual President's Bowl.
Our cameras captured some fantastic finishes in both North and South Dakota. We've got reaction from the players who helped tip the scales in their team's favor.
All that plus another batch of Jandy-approved plays and our picks for some of this week's top matchups. It's all just ahead on Varsity Sports. And how is everybody doing? Jay Elson, Jason Andera. This again is Varsity Sports, and we're about a quarter of the way through the high school football season.
Yeah,
already.
Some teams are actually halfway through in 9-man in North Dakota, a quarter of the way for some of these other teams.
Yeah, now obviously there's some exciting events throughout the regular season in both North and South Dakota. One of them certainly is the President's Bowl. All four Sioux Falls high schools, all the public ones plus O'Gorman, get together and play this one night of high school football. It just so happens the last couple of years, it's featured two of the best regular season matchups that we've seen all season.
Exactly, and it's usually a preview of at least a semifinal game, if not a finals game. And this year, it looked like it was going to be a preview of the finals with number 1 and number 2 going at it. But just to take a little segue, we had a chance to get to know Kim Nelson, head coach of Roosevelt, and Aaron Beavers, the head coach of Lincoln, in a little bit different way, just to see how they prepare for the game when they're on the field.
Score ready. Well, let's have a draft.
I think we had the first guy out here.
We're doing a fantasy draft.
Huh?
Draft. We'll have a draft.
A draft?
You get first pick. I'll take.
Okay.
No, I'll get first pick.
No. You're the home team.
Let's play physical today, Ben. Okay. You earned that spot in there. You earned it. Okay. You earned it. You keep it. Okay. Dominant. Right? Dang, we got a sophomore out here. And he's going to play. If we're going to do the snake?
No, like the 17 power pass.
The go.
The go.
The go. Yep. Then you just bypass them.
Yeah.
Going. Okay. Hey, got to know the names of the place.
I know. You got to get a hit.
Say, hey, Nickel, you know what to do. Just kind of do that. That's the way we roll around here. Things in the sand, you just draw it up. Ready to go! Backyard football, right, Nickel? Huh? We're all kids. Ready to go! We're all kids.
All right, our thanks to Aaron Beavers, head coach at Sioux Falls Lincoln, and Kim Nelson, the head coach at Roosevelt, for their cooperation with all that. But Jason, obviously a lot of fun to get that extra little window into what goes on the field.
Yeah, you can tell it's fun to listen to those guys talk back and forth, that they know each other pretty well, and they do respect each other, but always fun to get an inside look.
Absolutely. Well, it's also fun to see what happens when these games actually get underway. That's what we're going to do right now, taking a look back. And we're going to start with the first game of the night, O'Gorman and Washington, the 23rd Annual President's Bowl. The Knights trailed 10-0 late in the second quarter when Luke Fritch finds A.J. Martinez for an 11-yard touchdown to get OG on the board. And that was the spark they needed. The Knights finished the game with 21 unanswered points and improved to 2-1 on the season with a 21-10 win. Get this, Washington falls to 0-3.
It sounds a little funny, but the nightcap had Howard Wood Field. It became an instant classic. Top-ranked Roosevelt stormed out of the gate, scoring 2 touchdowns in the game's first 5 minutes. They opened up a 14-0 lead on number 2 Lincoln, but the Pats didn't back down. They responded with 3 straight scores from running back Braxton Large to take a 21-14 advantage into halftime. Then it was Roosevelt who pulled within 1 early in the fourth quarter, but Large tacked on his 4th touchdown of the night just a few minutes later, and Lincoln stays unbeaten with a 35-27 win over Roosevelt. Pats quarterback Isaiah Roach completed 16 of 20 passes for 248 yards and a touchdown. Most of those went to his best target, Nickel Myers. He notched 9 catches, 196 yards. Large, meanwhile, put up 109 yards on the ground on 25 carries.
Well, I mean, it all starts up front with all my linemen. I'm pretty proud of what they can do, and I'm excited what we can do in the future through the season. And I mean, last year I learned from Caden, which he really taught me almost everything. coming in, we have Coach Rico. I'm kind of excited. He's our new running back coach, and I mean, he's just really teaching us how to extend the play and show what we're capable of.
It's really built our morale as a team. We're really rallying around each other, and I think throughout this season it's really going to push us to greater things.
All right, so the Pats get the win, but the biggest story, Jason, coming out of this game was the injury to Roosevelt quarterback Taryn Christian. The South Dakota State recruit went down late in the fourth quarter with a broken ankle. He had surgery on that ankle on Monday, and we're told he's out at least 4 to 6 weeks. But boy, that seems awful optimistic.
You know what? First of all, about the actual injury, a lot of people are going to point to Taryn Christian as an athletic quarterback who runs out of the pocket a lot and plays a little bit dangerously on those runs. This was a freak accident. It was an awkward tackle. Nothing weird about this that could have prevented an injury like that. So let's get that out of the way first of all. Second of all, you're right. 4 to 6 weeks seems optimistic when you have screws in your foot.
Yeah.
But, you know, this guy has one senior year in high school, and you know what? He's going to try to make the most of it. If we do see him back, it'll be a pretty big miracle. But I think we might be able to see him in late October, maybe November. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that 4 to 6 timetable actually puts it right about the start of the playoffs. And so, in theory, if everything heals exactly as it should, it's possible. But again, you got to be careful. The kid has a future,
right?
And so obviously Kim Nelson and the Rough Rider coaching staff are going to have to consider all of that.
Yeah,
as well.
they'll take care of that part of it. They're not going to put his health in danger, his future playing in danger. But meanwhile, look for Jet Thune, the junior quarterback, to step up. He's been at receiver a lot of this year. He'll go back to quarterback, and I think they'll be in good hands with Jet Thune. People will see that he can move this offense as well.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Riders handle this going forward. All right, well, week 2 also brought us an OT thriller in the ESD. We'll recap that and the rest of Friday's action from across South Dakota when we come back.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by AE Tech Electrical Training Center in Rapid City. Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields.
And welcome back. Well, an OT thriller ended with an upset in the ESD, and one of the state's top 9-man teams flexed its muscles in Sioux Falls. It's all part of this week's Varsity Sports South Dakota Rewind, and it was a tale of two halves in Brandon as the Lynx played host to ESD rival Yankton. Brandon Valley controlled the first, but the second belonged to the Bucks. After falling behind 21-0, Yankton came alive with 21 unanswered points, tying the game on a Jordan Leitner 8-yard touchdown late in the third quarter. It stayed that way until overtime, and following a Lynx field goal, the Bucks put the cap on their come-from-behind win as Mason Strahl hits Brady Hale for the game-clinching score. Yankton beats Brandon Valley for the first time since 2010, 27-24.
21-0. I think last year we might have put our heads down and not gotten it done. But this year, a lot of us worked so hard in the summer. We knew we weren't going to let that go to waste, and we just came back, and everybody was still all in. Nobody hung their heads, and we were ready to go the whole time.
In Rapid City, Douglas ran all over Rapid City Central in the opening game of the Rushmore Bowl. The Patriots used 3 running backs, Aaron Murphy, Skylar Grimm, and Colton Hitchu, to pile up 302 yards on the ground en route to a 35-19 victory. It's just the second win over the Cobblers in school history for the Patriots, who are now 3-0 on the season.
Look out for Douglas. In Class 11A, West Central jumped on Vermilion early and often, and Cody Bussell had a lot to do with that. The senior rushed 13 times for 195 yards and 3 scores as the top-ranked Trojans steamrolled the Tanagers 51-0.
Elsewhere in 11A, Dakota Valley traveled to Madison. The Panthers struck first on a Brady Dam touchdown, and that apparently struck a nerve with the second-ranked Bulldogs because they scored the next 48 points. Mitch Hansen threw 2 touchdowns, ran for another as Madison improves to 3-0 on the season with a 48-6 victory.
Game 2 of the FCA Sodak Bowl in Sioux Falls was a back-and-forth battle between Lennox and Sioux Falls Christian. Chargers took a 2-point lead in the fourth quarter on this Sawyer Prinz touchdown and 2-point conversion, but the Orioles would answer. Colin McEntee provides the game winner. Lennox edges Sioux Falls Christian 36-30.
I told the kids after the game, every game's 4 to 5 big plays, and wherever you end up on them, that's usually the team that wins it. And so we were fortunate enough to make the plays and come up on top. Sioux Falls Christian's a great team.
Arlington marched to its third win of the season in convincing fashion as the Cardinals dominated Castlewood 55-14 in Dakota Valley Conference play. Andrew King accounted for 3 total touchdowns, while Luke Weber added 144 yards and 2 scores on the ground.
After a scoreless first quarter, Gregory kicked it into high gear. The Gorillas took advantage of some solid special teams play and great field position to score a 36-14 win over Kimball White Lake. Quarterback Kurt Braun ran for 119 yards and a touchdown. He also threw for 2 more.
Kurt Brown at quarterback is just tremendous. He also plays safety for us. He can throw it and run it. He's a dual threat guy. Jonah Beck is another guy, just a hard-nosed type of guy. He plays linebacker, running back for us. And, you know, a lot of times when we win a football game, when we're lucky enough to win a football game, it's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's probably about 9 or 10 that are making plays at some point during the game. So we're fortunate to have a lot of guys right now.
Howard posted 4 touchdowns in the first half on their way to an impressive 36-0 shutout over perennial 9-man power Bridgewater Emory Ethan. The Tigers leaned on backup quarterback Jordan Genslinger to lead the offense. He put up an efficient 4 for 6 passing, but it was star running back Luke Laudenberg who drove the team with 147 yards, 4 touchdowns, and get this, 2 interceptions on defense.
Kid makes plays all over the field. He is a good
player.
one. All right, well, coming up, Fargo South survives the scare in Grand Forks. We'll look back at that thrilling finish when we come back.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by AE Tech Electrical Training Center in Rapid City. Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields.
And welcome back. Well, we've recapped the action in South Dakota. Now it's time to do the same in North Dakota. Here is your Varsity Sports North Dakota Rewind. Great matchup in the EDC as defending champion Fargo South traveled to Grand Forks Red River, and the Rough Riders were thinking upset in this one. They jumped out to an early 14-0 lead, only to see the Bruins come right back to tie it up. Rough Riders, though, didn't quit. They actually led 28-21 going into the fourth quarter, but the Bruins rally again. Ty Brooks scores at a 5-yard run. They miss the extra point, still trail 27-26. Now, Red River had a chance to ice it late, but they fumbled the punt return, setting up the Bruins for the game-winning score, 33-26 the final. What a ball game.
You know what, I think we found out that on the road you're going to face a lot of adversity, and early on in the football game we did not do a good job at all. And I couldn't be more proud of our kids second half. You know, we're going in the fourth quarter down 2 scores, and to be able to come back, it's just a true credit to our senior leadership. James Johannesson stepped up when we needed to him, and it was a great finish.
It just shows, you know, our adversity, you know, defense, offense, special teams. It was a great game from start to finish, and I give Red River a lot of credit. They played a great game.
Cheyenne and West Fargo locked up for the first time as varsity opponents. The Mustangs chalked up a safety early in this game and played some stout defense to contain the Packers, but in the end, Creighton Fowles' 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns were too much to handle. The Packers win it 34-14. Cheyenne quarterback, however, Josh Roerick was 10 of 19 for 143 yards in that losing effort.
Century fullback turned quarterback Chris Kraft filled in for the injured starter Dalton Feeney on Friday. He completed just 3 passes, but used his running skills to amass 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mandan outgained the Patriots in total offense, but it didn't end up showing on the scoreboard. Century escapes with a 27-20 win. All right, with that week in the books now, Jason, let's take a quick look at your power rankings in Class 3A for North Dakota.
I still have Bismarck at number 1. Most people have Fargo South there, but Davies not far behind. And then you see, even with a losing record, I like West Fargo in the top 5.
All right, and then some of the top performers from last week. There were a number of them, but let's cover just a few.
There were Jake Eiley out of Richland. 3 second-half touchdowns in their win over Strasburg, Zeeland. He put up a huge day. Chris Kraft, we just talked about him, the fullback turned quarterback for Century. A 3-touchdown day, 122 yards rushing. Not necessarily what you want from your quarterback, but he did get the job done for the win. And we move to South Dakota. Let's take a look at Jonathan Kabambi out of Harrisburg, the All-State running back, 147 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns in their 48-13 win over Huron. Harrisburg's on a roll, folks, 3-0. They got a great performance out of their quarterback, Shea Slaughter, as well. And then Lance Eide out of Dual. We don't talk a lot about nine-man football, but this guy, 257 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. And here's a look at some of the other top performers that we saw over the weekend.
All right, good stuff. We found a lot of great plays across North and South Dakota over the weekend, but only a few were good enough to earn Jandy's stamp of approval. Find out if this one made the cut when we come back.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by AE Tech Electrical Training Center in Rapid City. Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields.
The high school gridiron offered up a ton of great plays last week, as it does every week, and our cameras caught a number of them, and it's time to share the best of the best with you right now. It's time for another edition of Jandy Approved Plays of the Week.
Here we go with the plays of the week. We start out at the FCA Sodak Bowl, lofted up in the air. Great grab. Look at that. He actually brought that in. Turner Blasius, the touchdown catch, and it counts for Kimball White Lake, even though they lost the game. And that's going to be a kind of a theme today, Jay. Great catches. Look at Parker Harm right on the sidelines.
Over the defender.
Up and over and keeps his feet in. Yeah, they're going to try to argue against it, but that was definitely in. Let's move to West Fargo. Brady Heisler with the great catch for a touchdown. Another one lofted up, and he goes up and gets it.
Jump ball. I don't know if I like that one better than 4, though. Got to be honest.
Okay, well, you know what? They're my plays. Number 2, West Fargo, Jacob Hoy. This time on the defensive side, goes up and gets one. Man, a lot of kids going up and getting those balls on those jump balls. It's a pretty one right there. He took possession.
Still like 4 better.
And let's move to number 1. Let's get out of the catching game. Let's go to Hartford, South Dakota. West Central backed up on your own 3. What do? Cody Bussell out on the right side.
Oh my.
Nobody's going to catch him. That's 97 yards, a hard one.
Yeah, he had a huge night for West Central as they let it whoop it on Vermilion, and this one 51-0 was the final. Good for him. Yep. Cody Bussell, our number 1 Jandy approved play of the week.
And remember, folks, if you see a great play out there, even if you didn't catch it on your own camera, hashtag it Jandy approved. We'll try to find the play somehow, some way, and get you on this top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Always looking for contributions, so don't be afraid to hit up Jandy, hit up me, whoever, and we'll get those on if we can. All right, well, coming up, picks going to get tougher this week, Jandy, and we're going to go head-to-head on some of the top matchups, plus we'll let you know who we think should be on upset alert. That's next on Varsity Sports.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by AE Tech Electrical Training Center in Rapid City. Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields.
And welcome back to Varsity Sports, and it's time to wrap things up with our weekly head-to-head competition. It's our Varsity Sports Pigskin Pick'em segment, and Jason, pretty even here, although
this has been a good year.
Darn near perfect.
It's been a good year, but the only thing that can beat me is upset picks, and that has been your specialty.
It has.
So listen up, folks. You want to get a good pick from this guy if you want to get one right.
The first one was really bad, though. We want to move on past that one. All right, we got 4 games to talk about: 2 from North Dakota, 2 from South Dakota. We're going to start in North Dakota this week. Grand Forks Red River, off that tough loss to Fargo South, now heads to West Fargo.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these 2 teams have had probably the 2 toughest schedules in the entire EDC of North Dakota this year. And they've both come out with just 1 win and 2 losses to start the year, but they are 2 good teams, trust me. And you look what Creighton Fow has done for the Packers, a dual threat quarterback, and then they've got Samuel Olson, who started out the year just 8 carries his first week, 12 carries the second week, 17 carries now. He's in full swing. He's ready to get 100-plus yards from here on out. I think West Fargo's going to be too strong.
See, I think defense is what this one's all about.
True.
And there's a difference here in that West Fargo's given up under 19 points per game, whereas Red River, against some of the same competition, giving up 35 points per game.
That's been a weakness.
That's what might be the deciding factor in this one. I like West Fargo as well. Good 9-man matchup here. TGU at St. John. Both teams 4-0.
Yeah, we looked for a couple undefeateds, and we found them in the 9-man ranks, where up in the north, St. John is quietly, even though they've had like 9 seniors let go from last year's team, they thought this might be a rebuilding year, but junior quarterback Seth Vivier has come out guns blazing, 341 yards per week passing.
Wow.
I think that's too much to handle for TGU. I think the Woodchucks get it done.
See, I like TGU in this game, and Eli Luna, their quarterback, is why I like him. Obviously a very athletic guy that we've seen for the last couple of years. We're just waiting for this TGU team to break through. This would be a great win, a statement win for them in the middle of the season. I think they get it done. All right, let's move into South Dakota now. An ESD matchup, Brandon Valley at Brookings.
You know, Brookings hasn't had as tough of a schedule as Brandon Valley has. 2 very good teams in the ESD again. I think it's going to come down to home field advantage and controlling the ball in the second half, which with Mikey Daniel and Gerald Maxwell, the Brookings Bobcats can do against that high-powered offense of Brandon. I think Brookings will get it done in a very close one.
I disagree. I think, the strength of schedule is my problem here, is the Bobcats just haven't played the upper echelon type team, whereas Brandon Valley has played some pretty good teams.
They have.
And they're coming off. They're probably a little upset after what happened to them last week at home. They were up 21-0 against Yankton and blew it. And so I think they come out here really fired up and try to get a win on the road. I think Brandon Valley gets it done. All right, finally, Sioux Falls O'Gorman at Pierre.
I think we're going to see a reversal of what we saw last year. Last year, Alex Gray came down to O'Gorman, used the dual threat quarterback position to his advantage. This year, I think we see Luke Fritch of O'Gorman go to Pierre, use his dual threat advantage, and O'Gorman gets it done, outlasts them in the end.
Yeah, I like O'Gorman here as well. I think the Knights are battle tested. They played Lincoln 2 weeks ago. They played Washington, albeit an 0-3 Washington team now, still tough. And I think they're ready for this test to go on the road and get the win, get a little payback from last year. So I agree with you there. All right, we'll see. Let's do it again next week. For Jason Andera, I'm Jay Elson. Thanks for watching. Remember to tune in Friday night, 10:30, with Jason and Tom for Varsity Sports Live.